Since 2018, I've decluttered 50% of our belongings and gone on to declutter for countless clients over the past 3 years. Over the course of this journey, there are simple habits that have just become a part of life and made it so easy to create and maintain this simple and clutter-free home. Today, I'm going to share 3 of those strategies that took us from stuck in clutter and chaos to a peaceful and functional home, including super simple tips that you can incorporate starting immediately. I made a video a while back and it was a vlog of us over the course of a day or maybe a weekend doing tiny little tweaks and repairs and deep cleans to our house and to our belongings with the idea that putting energy and care into our spaces creates a feeling of contentment. And although the video wasn't directly related to decluttering, it revolves around that whole concept that spending time caring for what we already own, it naturally reduces how much we crave of new things, and it reduces the time and money we spend on bringing new additional items into our home. Carefully cleaning and repairing things that we already own, it reminds us that what we already have is already pretty great. And it usually also reminds us that we probably don't have the time and energy to bring more things in and maintain additional items. This particular video never really got a lot of traction. However, I still think about it all of the time. And this is still a habit that we have years later. Habit number 1 is simply maintaining what we own to create that feeling of contentment, therefore not to crave new items, which in turn creates more clutter. And this kind of maintenance can look different for everyone in every situation. It could be that you want to steam clean your carpets and your furniture. In the video I made, I think that we just added like felt tips to the bottom of the dining room chairs we had so they weren't scraping the floor anymore. We did some paint touch-ups. I think we even did touch-ups. We had a piece of furniture in our dining room or living room, and we had like a little furniture marker, and we just touched up all the little dings and marks that were in it. Just the other day, I was like thinking our bath towels look so terrible. They're so old. However, they still work really well. So all I did was grab a pair of scissors and I just trimmed any of the little like strings that were coming off of them. I just trimmed it off and all of a sudden they look like brand new towels. Another one I love is de-pilling clothing. So I don't have like a de-piller or whatever you call it that scrapes the clothes, but a couple of years ago I borrowed one from a coworker and I took it home for the weekend and I just went crazy on like my pants or sweaters or anything I had that was pilling, and it just made my whole wardrobe feel like that much better and that much newer and nicer. I also love laundry stripping for clothes or sheets or towels. And not only does this make like the particular items that you're working on feel better, it makes your whole house feel like that much nicer and lighter. And you look around, you're like, oh my gosh, my house is amazing. It's beautiful. You know, when you walk into HomeSense or Home Goods in the States and you see all these beautiful displays and you instantly feel like, oh my gosh, my house looks like trash compared to this. And you instantly think, okay, I need to buy like 45 items to make my house look this good. Well, this habit is the exact opposite of that. It's that feeling that we're going to put care into what we have to make our house feel amazing without adding a single new item. If this is a new habit for you, just simply taking a minute to pause. Next time you're out and you're buying something and you think, wait a second, do I really need this item? Or could I go home and add a little love to something I already have to create that same like spark of joy? Next habit is a biggie, and it also relates to that sort of like feeling of contentment and fulfillment. When we started our decluttering journey, we were in that phase of life where we were new parents, newly married. We were just hustling to sort of reach that like American dream, which we just sort of assumed that that's what we wanted. But quickly, I burnt out and we were just surrounded by stuff. So we just took a step back and we thought, you know, what's really truly gonna bring us happiness? I created financial, professional, personal goals that were way more important to me than owning the biggest house or the latest style of jeans. My new mindset was sort of like, yeah, like new tea towels, those are so cute. I would love those. But you know what I would love more? It's to know I could retire someday, to know that I could work a little bit less so I had the time and energy to play Candyland with my kids on the weekend. That's why habit number 2 to maintaining a clutter-free home is to focus on goals or priorities that are bigger than this stuff in our world. Because not only does this improve the chances of creating our dream life, it slows down the clutter into our homes. If you're thinking this might be something that's worth reflecting on for you, there's one little thing that I always like to consider. I will think to myself, if I had 5 years left to live, what would I do to fill those 5 years and make it feel like they were 100% worthwhile? I have found that this is so powerful for my brain. Maybe your goal is to go on a golf adventure in Europe, or maybe you just want security, or maybe enough for retirement. Simply ask yourself, are the consumption of physical items being prioritized ahead of the things that truly matter to me? I shared a video a while back too about our financial goals and our budgeting, and it was specifically about a book by Ramit, whose last name I can't remember now. The book is called like My Rich Life, I think. And I specifically talked about like the workbook he has, and there's like sort of like an activity book that goes along with it. And it's just the idea of like finding out what truly matters to you and putting money and energy towards that. And I think most people, if they kind of focused on that and drill down, all the random little pieces of plastic randomness that we're sort of mindlessly consuming and mindlessly buying, that probably is not part of like our rich life. This might feel heavy for a decluttering video, but this shift can take us from being surrounded in stuff to living our dream life, or at least a version very close to it. And I speak from experience. If we already have 5 pairs of jeans, a new pair probably is not going to boost our happiness, but it's definitely going to add to the clutter in our home. But maybe taking one tiny step towards that deep down vision you have for your life is going to boost your happiness. And the impact that that has on creating a clutter-free home by consuming and buying less, that's just icing on the cake. Next up is my final habit, and it relates to organizing our spaces. And if you can make it a habit, you will pretty much always thank yourself later. Pretty much every single day, my kids have TV time at 4 p.m. They get it once a day, and it's usually always at the exact same time. And as we're prepping for TV time, the kids know that this is the time that they have to reset their spaces. If they tore apart the family room during the day, they have to put the nugget back, they have to put the toys away, outside bikes and hockey sticks all have to be put away, garbage goes in the garbage, rocks go back outside where they belong. But even on days where we have TV time at a different time, it's an unspoken rule that before the TV can go on, our shared spaces need to be reset. This routine has saved my sanity over the years. And I have similar habits of my own. Every day after dinner, I reset the kitchen countertops, I start the dishwasher, set up coffee and breakfast for the next day, and then sort of like close the kitchen for the night. This sets up my brain for sort of relax mode and sleep mode. And these regular resets, they keep the shared spaces manageable so they never get to that point of overwhelm. The resets make sure that everything goes back into its proper home. So next time you're looking for something specific, you know it's in its proper home where it's supposed to live, and it's easy to find. And these resets are almost like little mini assessments of what we own. Like, does everything fit back into the toy bin? Or am I easily able to put all the Tupperware back in the drawer where it's supposed to belong? These tiny little assessments can be invaluable to keep a home clutter-free. That's why habit number 8 is doing regular resets of our spaces. It doesn't have to be every space, and it does not have to be every day, but some sort of regular reset can be magical. If this habit is new to you, I have one suggestion to make it easier, and that is to start with one space. Usually the kitchen is like the go-to space for most people, but maybe you work out of your dining room, and so the idea of having, at the end of the night, having the dining room completely clear of everything else so that you're ready and set for work the next day, that might be important for you. Or maybe your mudroom is like a central part of your house where people are coming and going constantly. And so resetting it every single night or maybe every single morning, that helps to kind of keep the function of the house working. Or maybe you have a spare room where it's just like kind of your go-to where you toss everything when you're tired and don't feel like dealing with it. And maybe the goal is to sort of reset that at the beginning of every month, or maybe the beginning of every week. Be realistic. Having a completely tidy and organized home 100% of the time is not the goal. In our home, for example, I do not reset my basement often. I don't spend really any time down there, so I really don't care. Every few months, I'll just like wander down and see if there's anything there that's sort of become clutter and that needs to go. But day to day, it is not a priority for me, so I just don't prioritize it. The key to resets is to make them easy. Nobody wants to tidy an area that is a pain to manage. And the one thing that makes these resets easier is having fewer things, having less stuff to reset. Once you're in the habit of it and you have fewer things, these resets can take minutes, maybe even just seconds. With practice, these resets become second nature. Or even if you don't like doing it and you dread it, because you know it feels so good after, you will probably continue to keep doing it. There you have it, 3 habits that we have incorporated as part of our clutter-free home and life. I hope this motivates you towards a life full of more joy and less stuff. If you want to watch my video about creating contentment through caring for a home, I will link that right here. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.